We're going to show you the best way to climb a tree with climbing sticks. All right, so you've gotten to your tree. There's a giant buck close by hitting a scrape, but you got to climb the tree first and get ready to kill him. So we're going to teach you how to do that. First thing we like to do is set as many sticks as you can from the ground level. It's the easiest, it's the safest. So Jared, pop your first stick off and let's show them how to set the first tree, show them how the Dynalock works, and show them how everything works.
Okay. All right, so we're gonna take our first stick here, and it's gonna be a little bit different for everybody because everybody's got a different step length. For me, I can step up pretty high, but a good general rule of thumb with your foot on the ground is about knee height. So I'll actually put my knee right into that button, right on the stick, and then I can run my rope around. Now the big thing with the Dynalite rope is to keep it nice and flat around the tree. You don't want a bunch of slack in it. And the tighter you keep it around the tree like this, the better off you're going to be and your stick's not going to kick out. All right, Greg, so explain to me how to do the Dynalock button.
Like Jared said, you pull all the slack out of the rope, and then all you have to do is loop it and then lock each little slot in the Dynalock boat. And it kind of works like a boat cleat. Yep. The friction holds it on there. You can put a half hitch in there now after you're done, and that will absolutely lock it off. But those little slots, they work like a dream. There's no buckles, there's no noise, stupid simple. You can't really beat the Dynalock attachment. Now that that's on there, y'all like to take the slack out of it,
yep, so
pull out on the bottom, push it down, take as much as you want out, and then you're ready to climb the tree. Now, since we're already at ground level, I would say, Jared, let's go ahead and put that second one on there and show them how to do that at height. Another little trick you can use, so most people, except for Ernie has the inseam of a beagle, but for most people, from your foot to your knee is about 18 inches, and just so happens that's about what you want to be. So you can actually use the stick as a gauge. So sometimes I'll set it on the top to kind of get an idea of where my bottom rung needs to be, then you move it up and you know you're pretty close. If you're tall, you can go a little higher, but not much, because you don't want to be unsafe. So you want to keep it about 18 inches step to step, and you can use your knee or a stick as a guide to make sure you're staying safe. So what are you going to do now, Jared? Just basically follow, rinse and repeat, right?
Yep, exactly. And a lot of times if I want to free up both hands, I'll simply use my chin like this to hold the stick, and then I can just simply lock that off just like that. And I'm going to tie my half hitch in here. So that's nice and tight, and then I'll simply just pull down on the stick just like that.
Now you've got your two sticks. You can't really set any more because we're not tall enough. So you've got two more ready to go. Now, Jared, to go up the tree, what you don't want to do is you don't want to be climbing up, grab a stick, come back down, grab the last one. So with our saddle gear, there's a ton of ways you can skin this cat. We're going to show you probably the simplest, the most tried and true method that a lot of people use is just a little rubber gear tie.
Yep.
I've used 550 cord, I've used rad buttons, I've used bungee cord, I've used everything you can imagine. There's no wrong way to do it. You just want to make sure it's not making noise.
Yep.
So I pulled them apart. Sometimes I will put one on one hip, one on the other. I've also done it where you stack them together and do it that way. So for purposes of this demonstration, we're just going to show you if they were stacked together, kind of the simplest way to do it. And I know, Jared, this is how you climb in real life, right?
Yeah.
So show us how to do that.
Let me get the orientation right here. So I will actually connect it with my last stick in the kind of sequence of things. That way I could pop this one off. So all I got to do is just simply run this gear tie through and just tie it off. And now I don't have to undo that to get this next stick off. I can simply just pop it off because it's locked together with the pins. So we got our first two sticks on. I've got my next two sticks that I'm going to set once I get up the tree. And now I'm simply going to pull out my lineman's rope.
Never leave the ground without your lineman belt attached. There's no sense in getting in a rush. There's no sense in doing anything unsafe. Always go home after the end of the hunt. That is obviously the most important thing. So Jared's going to attach his lineman belt so he's nice and safe.
Lock that off.
Lock it off. You don't want to be too far from the tree to where you have a ton of slack, but you also don't want to be too tight.
Right.
Because if you're too tight, then you can't work together. So you want to be a good 12 to 18 inches away from the tree. It's just something about like this. You don't want to be really far. About how Jared set up's about perfect.
Yep. So I'll actually use the rope a lot of times to kind of pull myself up against the tree. So I'll go ahead and put my foot onto that step. Now when I go to take a step up, I can kind of pull myself closer to the tree with the rope and then flip it like this. That way you're not letting the rope drop down and creating a bunch of slack.
Why would that be a problem?
Yeah, so if your rope is way down here and you would happen to slip, look at how far you would have to go before this catches you, and you might hit your stick, you know, so you can get injured that way. So if you keep this nice and high, if you would happen to slip, you're really not going to go anywhere. So you want to keep this at least level and above. So I've got my rope kind of up as high as I can get it right there. Then I'll go ahead and take a step.
Yep.
And then I'm going to grab the rope like this and kind of pull myself toward the tree. And then I'm going to flip it up just like that. And now that I've already got this stick set, I can just keep going. So as I step up, I'm just going to keep flipping the rope.
Perfect. Now you're ready to set.
Yeah.
We don't have to do it now, but you can see the process. Jared could then go ahead and pop those sticks off your hip, Jared. You can see how easy it is. Pop the next one off, undo your rope, attach it, and you're ready to go. So this is Jared's going to go ahead and set his third stick, and when you're up off the ground, that's a great time to use that stick as a gauge. Jared's going to throw the Dynalite rope around the tree. Same exact process. He's going to lock it off. He's going to tie a little half hitch in it just for safety, and then he's going to set the stick, and he's ready to climb up on it. He could repeat for his fourth stick. Now he's at hunting height and he's ready to go. So, all right, Jared, the hunt is over. Now you're coming down. Show me how you take the stick off and pack it to come down from the tree.
Yes, I've already got one hanging off of my hip here, so I'll go ahead and undo my half hitch.
So one thing I like about that, another thing I like about that Dynalock is there's no buckles to undo, so it's just pop it and let it go.
Nice and quiet, so I'll just go ahead and wrap it around the stick and then finish it off in the Dynalock button. And now I'll actually stack my sticks as I come down. That way when I hit ground, like I can basically take off walking. There's not a bunch of packing up that I need to do. Now this takes a little bit of practice to stack them together on your hip like this, but it's really not too hard with a little bit of practice.
And there's 100 ways to skin this cat. So some people will lower the stick down with that Dynalite rope because it's about 8 foot long. So you can pretty much get them all the way to the ground. Some people will pull the sticks off, stack them, rehang them. There's a lot of ways you can do it. You just need to spend a little bit of time practicing your system to get it dialed. And I know Jared has spent years practicing this, and so he's really good and really fast at it. But don't get discouraged if the first few times you do it, it takes a little bit of time to get used to your system. That takes time to build those reps, and you want to practice it. You know, like we used to say in the Army, you don't practice till you get it right. You practice till you can't get it wrong.
That's right.
So there's a lot of ways you can use these climbing sticks. These particular sticks, the one sticks, they only weigh a pound, so they're pretty much the lightest stick on the planet. You can climb any tree that you can get your arms around safely. That is how you use climbing sticks, from the ground all the way to hunting height. A few things I want to point out. Don't get in a hurry.
Yep.
Slow is smooth, smooth is fast. Take your time, be quiet, focus on getting the stick exactly where you want it, focus on your safety, focus on your lineman belt, make sure you're not too far away from the tree. You really want to pay attention to these things because it's not worth getting hurt. The other thing, go slow when you're taking the sticks apart, when you're pulling them off your back, when you're wrapping around the tree. Don't get in a hurry and start making noise. Go slow, focus on safety, and you're going to be more efficient in the woods.
That's right.